of 5 MAP 12 students, each pursuing a different career path. We will be exploring how being a MAP student not only impacts your plans for the future, but also
and we all respectively ask that you remain muted as our panelists share their stories in order to make sure that their voices are heard. And instructions for hiding the non-video participants were on the first slide. They're also in the chat.
We will have time for audience questions at the end of the panel. At that time, please remain muted and feel free to type questions in the chat. The panelists, Ritika and I, will make sure to get to as many questions as time permits. We will be starting the recording of this session now.
Today on the panel, we have Mihir Bedadipur, Maya Gonder, Meghna Gupta, Ryan Lay, and Rana Zahabi. Mihir Bedadipur will be attending Indiana University in the fall studying business. At SHS, he was co-head of the Rally Commission and played baseball all 4 years. Mihir enjoys playing guitar and video games, as well as spending time with his family to pass the time during quarantine.
Meghna Gupta will be a first-year student majoring in mechanical engineering and minoring in graphic design at the University of Michigan. She has been a part of the school's robotics team and the Indian Cultural Awareness Club for all 4 years of high school. She is also the current fundraising head for the MAP student leadership team. In her spare time, she enjoys playing the piano.
Maya Gonder is planning to be a political science major. She was initially going to go to the University of Washington, but for financial reasons has decided to stay home and go to Foothill Community College. During her time at Saratoga High School, she spent the most of her underclassmen years doing color guard. But after teching for Mary Poppins, she fell in love with drama and now works as a stage manager for SHS's drama shows. She also worked at Starbucks for about 9 months and has worked at the SHS McAfee for almost 2 years.
Ryan Lay will be a first-year student majoring in film and digital media at UC Santa Cruz. During his time at Saratoga High, he was a part of the school's multimedia journalism program for 2 years, a national-level Quiz Bowl competitor, and a speaker at this year's Speak Up for Change event. In his free time, he enjoys watching movies and playing League of Legends.
Rana Zahabi will be a first-year student majoring in visual arts at UC San Diego. During her time at SHS, she was a part of the MAP leadership team, co-president of the Persian Club, and played both basketball and softball.
Our assistant principal, Ms. Monarchy, will be the moderator of this discussion. Ms. Monarchy has worked at SHS for 29 years and was one of the founding members of the MAP staff. After working with Mr. Friend, Ms. Head, and Mr. Davey to develop the program, she served as a MAP 10 and MAP English 11/11 honors teacher. She was the MAP coordinator before becoming an assistant principal at the school. She dabbles in screenwriting and poetry and finds great joy in mentoring senior project groups each year.
Okay, I think I'm on. So we're gonna have a fun evening tonight. We're so happy everybody's here to join us, and I'm feeling especially fortunate to be able to talk with some of our senior MAP students. We're gonna spend a little less than an hour talking today about your MAP journey and sharing with the people in the audience your experiences. So let's start with MAP 9. What drew you to the program then, and what kept you in the program after you finished the first year? So who would like to start? Rana?
I can start with that one.
Thanks.
So, I went to Redwood Middle School, like a lot of people at Saratoga, and I was never really in the media arts, like elective or into any of that growing up. But I had like my older sister and like my coaches and other mentors that kind of pushed me to take MAP. So I ended up just going for it, and I turned out that I really enjoyed it, and I could tell that a lot of the kids involved in MAP were really passionate about everything that they do, and a lot of the teachers care about their students just as much. So I found that it was really important to me to be in like a community of people who care and teachers who care. So that's what made me stay.
Great.
For me, both of my brothers did MAP, and they had a great experience doing it. So I was drawn to already doing it. Plus, I was really interested in media and creating media projects. So I tried it out. I loved it, and I've been doing it ever since. My favorite thing about MAP would have to be the community that's within it.
I'm actually the oldest in my family, so I don't have any older siblings who were like, join MAP. I kind of saw it on the choice sheet when I was choosing my courses for freshman year, and it said MAP English or regular English. So I looked into it a little bit, and I wasn't really interested in the media aspect, but the aspect of being able to do more group work and being more prepared for the real world really appealed to me. So that was why I initially joined MAP.
For me, it started back in middle school when I was in Mrs. Steffen's media arts class, and I got really into media arts because of that. And I knew that that was something I really liked doing, and movies in general had always been like a big part of my life. So I knew, I don't know, it was nice to, have a program where it was kind of dedicated to working on stuff like that.
So I know when you move from MAP 9 to MAP 10, there's a lot of decisions that have to be made because the cohort in ninth grade, you only have MAP English 9, but there's no social studies component and there's no elective connected to it. But when you become a 10th grader, that becomes a triplet, right? You have to take all 3 classes together, and you may have to sacrifice another elective. So what was it that you saw going forward in the program at that point that drew you to say, okay, I'm going to do that?
So I can take this one. So I think for me as a freshman, I really, really enjoyed all of the projects that we had. And since then, the amount of media projects and involvement that the freshmen have had within the MAP program has actually increased so much more. But for us, we had like 4 small projects. We didn't actually have access to the media lab. But I had a lot of friends with older siblings, and I played basketball, so all of my teammates were also in MAP. I'm not sure if that had to do with our coach being one of the MAP teachers. But the experience that I had freshman year and the experience that I had sophomore year were so fundamentally different from my friends that weren't in the MAP program. And I learned so much more than just the school curriculum. There were so many soft skills that I never thought I would learn that I learned in the MAP program that made me want to continue doing it for 4 years.
Somebody else want to take that one?
Yeah. So for me, it was interesting because since MAP freshman year was only a 1 course, a lot more people took it. And I found that a bunch of my friends, my closest friends, ended up dropping MAP sophomore year. And for me, I had to consider whether I would rather take classes with my friends or do what I was interested in. Mm-hmm. And that was a really hard decision for me. But I think what it came down to wasn't just the class itself and what I was interested in, but knowing that eventually, since I'd seen the seniors talk about MAP before, that it would become a family. It wouldn't be just like the class itself that I would be putting myself into, which kind of sounds like a cult now that I'm talking about it like that. But yeah, that was what I was really looking forward to, is finding a group of people who were also interested in media.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Megna mentioned she played sports. Why don't you talk about the extracurriculars you do and how do you balance your time between the media arts program and extracurricular activities?
Yeah, so as it said in the beginning, I was rally co-head and I also played baseball, as well as volunteering. I had to kind of balance a lot of extracurriculars. MAP with its projects kind of teaches you how to balance your time. So say we had deadlines of getting a storyboard in or getting the rough cut of our film in, we had to learn how to balance our time and use it wisely. So that actually helped us. So I don't find extracurriculars as a problem for taking MAP.
Yeah, same for me. I played multiple sports through high school. I did rowing outside of school, which took up a lot of time. I played basketball. I even did softball, and I did a lot of clubs and other things outside of school too. But I never found it a problem interfering with my extracurriculars, because another thing that's really nice is that because all the teachers work together, they have like a master calendar. So you're never going to have like 2 tests or 2 projects like due on the same date, which is really nice. So that was another thing that kind of like helped me go freshman year to sophomore year. That was like definitely something that's new to me. But yeah, I think definitely you learn a lot of skills too that help.
I think talking on the topic of teachers, I think you can say that there won't be problems, but inevitably it's high school. You probably will run into problems with tackling schedule and all of that. But the thing is that the teachers in the math program are very, very forgiving. They very much understand that, you know, as a high school, you have a bunch of other things that are happening in your life as well outside of math. So they're very forgiving, and they'll let you take extensions if you need, or they'll work with you every step of the way, because the thing about doing a project is it's not just the final product you're doing, it's like the journey to get there. You have like a bunch of deadlines on the way, which helps make it like a lot easier to, you know, manage your time in that way.
Yeah, I wanted to say my favorite thing about time management with math is that if you are a responsible student and you're working hard, you really don't have to work your schedule around math, and you'll be able to, sorry, I said that wrong. Like math won't change the way that you do your schedule, and you can like coordinate your projects so that you're working when you already have free time. And it's not like you'll have to stop doing all these extracurriculars you want to do. I mean, there might be some that are conflicting, obviously, but the vast majority of extracurriculars you're able to make work with math, which I really like about the program.
Okay, so some of you alluded to group work. Let's talk a little bit about group work in the media arts program. So is there a lot of group work? And is that something that you need to manage? How do you work with group mates that aren't good? And you know, let's talk about groups.
So there is no way to get around this. There is a lot of group work in math. It's one of the core things that we are focused around. If you like group work, then great, math is perfect for you. But I recommend it even more if you don't like group work. The real world won't always let you work by yourself. You're gonna have to work in teams, and it's much better to learn that in high school when your teachers will forgive you, whereas if you learn it when you have a job, your boss is just gonna fire you. It's much better to learn that skill now in an environment that will forgive you and help you learn, rather than where you won't be able to do that.
Yeah, group work definitely isn't something that's avoidable, whether you're in math or not, and in the real world too. Like, that's why it's really helpful, because it forces you to kind of be comfortable being uncomfortable when you're like challenging yourself and pushing yourself and trying new roles in different groups and managing people and talking to people and like, I don't know, conflict resolution. You're just learning really important skills that are going to help you in life too. So I wouldn't see it as something that should deter you from it, but it should be definitely like a plus in my eyes.
So let's get down and dirty on this one. So let's talk about a group project that didn't go well. And how did you handle that?
So I think that the MAP program really has a great way of handling grading, especially when it comes to group work. So at the end of every single project, you submit, like, basically you grade your teammates, and you say how much, like, what was the percentage of work that each teammate did on the project. And some projects you get where you literally have to just divide 100 by the number of teammates that you have. And some projects you have where you're like, okay, well, this person did 5% of the work and this person did 35% of the work. But the teachers really take all of that information into account, and a large portion of your grade is participation on every project. And so you get to say, like, specifically with sentences, you know, like, this person, like, just didn't contribute a lot, and these are the reasons why. And so I think when teachers see a student who also, like, is repeatedly not getting graded well on participation, everyone does a good job to try and make sure that, like, we all eventually get to a point where we're equal contributors. And so it ends up being a really positive environment, and you learn a lot with the groups.
Yeah, and just to add to that, the teachers are really good about letting you know, like, if you've been getting consistently bad grades for group participation, they're not going to say nothing to you. They're probably going to go up to you, like, just you, and kind of explain, like, what's been happening and why that might be happening, and try and help you through that, rather than just kind of leaving you in the dust.
Was anybody ever in a group where someone got fired from the group?
Yes, I had a project sophomore year. We were making a film, and this one guy, he really wasn't doing any work. And then so we decided to make him the lead, just because a lot of times it is easier just to have someone stand in front of the camera than doing all the work behind it. And then halfway through the project, he dropped out of the program. So we had to refilm the entire movie, but the teachers were very forgiving. They gave us an extension. We didn't get another group member, which makes sense, but it was a really hard project to work on, but it all ended up okay in the end.
Anybody else?
There was one time sophomore year also, it was me and Ratika were working on a project, and we had a couple of our group members that were kind of like hard to like get to focus and cooperate. So we went and talked to our teacher about it. We were like, what do we do? We don't know like how to get them involved. So at the end of the day, they're kind of just like, figure it out on your own. Like, that's what you have to do. So you kind of go, and it ended up okay too. Like, we found out, like, we talked to them, we were like focusing on communication, and that was kind of our like bridge to get them to stay involved. And we ended up all being part of that project. It was a podcast, and we had everyone be able to speak, and it turned out really good.
Yeah, I think,
Oh, Magna, you can go ahead.
yeah, oh, okay. I think another thing that we learn is that like everyone has a different role to play in every project. And so you figure out that like not everyone wants to be in front of the camera and not everyone wants to be behind the camera. And so like as you go through the MAP program, you really learn what your skills are. And by the end of your sophomore year and then junior and senior year, everyone kind of knows what they're good at. And so then when you get put into groups, you find less people who like aren't doing anything, because everyone knows what each other's strengths and weaknesses are. And so you're able to say like, hey, like, why don't you work on this? Because you know that person is really good at that sort of task. And so like you kind of figure it out as you keep going. And as you can tell, like sophomore year, you really learn, and then it doesn't happen as much junior and senior year.
I was just gonna say, like, I've had groups where it's been the opposite, where everybody wants to do something and everybody has their ideas, and then sometimes you have like so many ideas coming in at once that you can't manage it, and like you don't know how to split up the work, and that can be a problem too. Like junior year, that definitely was a thing when we did a documentary, and at that point, like, I think sometimes you just have to learn through your failures, like to like map not everything is going to go perfect for you for all of the group projects. Inevitably, there's going to be some issues. And it's just like the fact that you have a support group around you that is willing to, teachers and other students who are willing to fail together and learn from their failures and do better next time, because there always will be a next time. I think it's one of the great things about doing projects in a program like this.
Okay, let's talk about moving from MAP 10 to MAP 11. Is there an opportunity to take honors or AP courses in the media arts program?
Yeah, there is actually. So being in MAP doesn't change whether you can take certain APs or not. You're in the same group of people as people taking, like, say, for example, like regular English. You're in the same classroom, but like half of the kids are in AP, half the kids are in regular. The teacher's teaching the same stuff. The only thing that's different is the test and homework expectations. But it's also really nice, I think, to have that kind of blended model, because everyone's kind of has like a different level of understanding, and you can hear different perspectives. Like, say the regular kids are having like a different reading for English that might connect to like the AP kids. So yeah, it's totally possible.
That also equates to a diverse set of people in your class. Because if somebody takes like only AP and honors classes, a lot of the times they'll see the same or like the same people. Whereas if it's all the regular and AP or honors kids in one class, you see a lot of different people, and like Rana said, a lot of different viewpoints.
Mm-hmm. So that to be clear, so at the 11th grade level, you can take regular English 11 honors. You can take U.S. history or U.S. Advanced placement, and then at the senior level, you can take English 12 or English 12 AP Lang, and then government econ or AP government and econ. Is that correct? All right. Okay, let's go on. One of the misconceptions that kind of goes into this question is that students who take MAP are kind of lazy and kind of, you know, not that into school or academics, and they don't work that hard. They're just not, you know, the top echelon of Saratoga High School. So let's talk a little bit about that reputation.
So that's completely wrong. Like, I just want to start by saying that is so wrong on so many levels. I think MAP, in fact, is the opposite. It's filled with some of the most hardworking, studious, outgoing people that I know. I think the program itself, like, it attracts individuals who have such diversified interests, and so you get kids who everyone has some sort of interest in the media aspect of the program, otherwise they wouldn't be in it. But not everyone wants to pursue that as a career. And so you have so many different, like, as you can see by all of our panelists, right? We all spent 4 years in this program, and we're all doing completely different things with our lives. And so you get a bunch of kids who are really, really hardworking, and they want to learn about media, and they want to do well in school. They are taking the APs, the same APs and honors classes as those outside of the program are. And so, yeah, it's so wrong. And we also have to do, I think we put so much work into all of our schoolwork too, because we have so many group projects on top of our regular schoolwork. And so you end up being not lazy and really hardworking, because in order to succeed in the program, you have to put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, I personally feel like not the opposite of that is true, but I think MAP kids are more driven to do better. I think they will manage their time better. And I had one more thing. They're just really hardworking people. And I also think that the MAP program, it's not easier than taking regular English or regular history. It's harder because you have to do all this extra group work that you wouldn't have to do. I think for a lot of kids, it is easier to write an essay than it is to work with 5 other people on a project. And I think that learning that skill is just as important.
Yeah, also, I think not even just the media aspect is what draws people, but especially sophomore year, at least for me, like once you see things start to connect in like English and history, like you realize that you're like this interdisciplinary learning or whatever is actually working, and it's really cool. And you like, it's more of like an enriching, like rewarding experience. I don't really know how to phrase it, but yeah, on top of that, MAP is definitely like the most well-rounded students at the high school, I think, because you have kids from like all walks of life. Like most of our panel here, like we've got like athletes, people in like drama, engineering, robotics, even Magna. So yeah.
So you're kind of scaring me with all these projects. Like, does your English class have a project, and your history class have a project, and your media class have a project? Talk to me about, like, it's 3 classes, so you have like 3 projects?
Yeah, so as Rana said, it's interdisciplinary. So say you're learning something in history, you're also learning about the same kind of time period in English. And so in media, you'll be doing a project about the same time period. So it all works together well.
Mm-hmm.
I think a good example of that is like, so say for example, we're learning about the Great Depression in history. Then in English class, we'll be reading The Great Gatsby. And then in media class, we'll be doing something called the American Story Project, where you'll take like a time in history that you want to tell like a story of, and you learn about like the 3-act structure and writing a script in junior year. So it's like all of those things kind of work together, and I think that's a great, like, yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have some projects that are more English-based and some that are more history-based. Sophomore year, we did this project called Choices of War. That was World War I focused. And then junior year, we did a video poem project, which is obviously more English focused. And then some connect all of them. It's just different.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about electives. Can you take electives other than media? I mean, through your high school career, how many of you took something other than media as an elective, or did something outside of media arts? Oh, look at you, all did. Okay, so why don't we go around? What did you do? Mahir, what did you do?
So for MAP, obviously, we had to take, starting 10th grade, we had to take the media arts elective. But that still leaves you with other spots for classes. So for Raleigh, I had to be in the leadership class, and that's another elective. I still had one more. This year, I wanted to take the new business class, but I also didn't want a 7th period. So that's a compromise I had to make with myself. So you do have the choice to take other electives.
Yeah, I did the I did the engineering electives. So I did them freshman year, sophomore year, and then junior year. Unfortunately, with the way that my schedule was going, I couldn't fit it in. So I didn't take it junior year, but then I did take it again senior year. And yeah, and I think like it actually helped me in a way. So like at the end of our junior year, we get to do this really cool project in English where basically it's whatever you want. And so you pick a book or a poem that we read in the class, and then you have to create a project that's around it. And so I got to work with my friends outside of MAP to do it too, because we all had the same English teacher. And I used my engineering skills we made like an LED light up board as part of one of our projects. And so it actually it made the whole MAP experience way more cohesive.
Were you on the robotics team as well, Megan?
Yes, I was. Yeah. Yeah. So I did that for all 4 years too. So that was really awesome.
Cool. What else?
I did drama all 4 years of high school, which is an elective that Saratoga offers. And just because of the way the MAP scheduling worked out, my senior year was actually the first year I was able to actually be in the advanced drama class. Miss Thurmond was kind enough to give me other opportunities to make up credit for it. So I would be able to be her TA, and then if I worked on the shows, I would get my drama 2 and 3 credits, so then I could take the honors class my senior year. And it's really nice to be able to do all these multiple electives, because you'll find you get to create different families and friend groups with each of them. And it really allows you to kind of diversify your high school experience and just overall have a very enriching and fulfilling experience.
Go ahead.
So did it work out for all of you? I mean, were there ever conflicts where you had to not take something? Because that's a reality, right?
Yeah, for me, it was freshman year when I took both Math 9 and then journalism. And I was worried about the credits or whatever, the visual arts. And I realized MAP, it has all those and it'll take care of everything. So I went with that because I didn't want to have to worry about it. And then I ended up senior year actually being able to go back and take yearbook. They were understaffed and they actually came to me and asked if I wanted to join, because the teachers at the school know math kids have a good reputation for being good students and working well in groups and things like that. So yeah.
Great. Ryan, we didn't get to hear about your extracurriculars or your other things.
Oh, I did a similar thing to Rana, where I wanted to be in journalism, so I took it freshman year, and then sophomore year it ended up not working out. I wanted to be part of newspaper. My whole thing was I wanted to do be in the entertainment section, do movie reviews, movie news, box office, all that stuff. And it ended up not working out for me because, in high school, you have all these classes you want to take and you just can't take them all. It's just, sometimes you wish you had 8 periods. I know I do. I know other people, they're 7's too much already. But I thought that would be over for me in terms of being in journalism and getting that opportunity. But then junior year, I went again and it also didn't work out newspaper, but I was part of the multimedia journalism team, which is functions similar to GNN for those in middle school. But it was different in that we had a whole set and it was a weekly basis thing. So I was able to venture out and do more things than I think I would have been able to do with newspaper. So I thought, sometimes your schedule doesn't work out, but it ends up benefiting you in other ways. So it's just the way things work out.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the advantages and the skills. So what types of skills and support did you receive or learn while you were in the media arts program? that aided you in college application processes? And maybe can I combine with this question a little bit? Remind us again what you're planning to study going into college, and did you know that when you were a freshman, like when you signed up for media arts, that that's the path you were going to go on? So there's a lot of questions right there, but like what skills, what supports did you get? What are you going to do in college, and did you know that going into the program as a ninth grader? So Megan, do you want to start?
Yeah, I can. So I think I actually came into high school thinking that I was going to do architecture. And then I did a summer program and I did not like it. So then I was like, oh, shoot, I have to find something else. And then as I was doing robotics, I became way more interested in mechanical engineering. But something that I never saw coming was graphic design. And so through the MAP program, I was introduced to Adobe Illustrator. And that is my favorite pastime. I love literally, I can sit for hours and just make random stickers and logos and t-shirts and trace drawings on my computer with my trackpad, and my thumb hurts afterwards. But I love doing that kind of stuff. And so as I've been going through the college decision-making process, I actually ended up choosing the school that would allow me to minor in graphic design, which is a really big deal for me. And so that's something that MAP really is affecting the rest of my life, in that it introduced me to something that I love so much. And then I think another thing, which is kind of random, which I never saw coming, was that once you decide what college you want to go to, you have to start reaching out to people to try and find roommates and start making friends with people. And I found that I was super comfortable messaging people on different social medias, and just reaching out to people in general, because MAP kind of forces you to learn how to do that. We have, I think, two separate projects where we literally have to go out and talk to random strangers and interview them and ask them questions. We had to do a scavenger hunt through San Francisco, so you had to talk to a lot of strangers doing that too. And so you get really comfortable meeting new people and talking. And that's a life skill that is going to stay with me for so long, that MAP really taught me.
Okay, great.
For me, so I kind of knew, so actually I forgot to include one extracurricular. I also kind of ran my own business where I was reselling shoes and clothes. But so that kind of got me into business. And then from then was like freshman year, I kind of knew I wanted to do business. So I can talk about also the letter of rec process. So in junior year, at the end of junior year is when we kind of apply for it. MAP guarantees us one letter of rec from any one of the MAP teachers. So that actually helped a lot, because the bond we have in the MAP program and with the teachers, it really helps with the letter of rec, because the teachers know us all so well. So I think it really came out in the letter, I hope.
You got into college, right?
I did.
Good job.
Yeah, going off what Mahir just said, the letter of recs are definitely amazing because the teachers really care about you. But also starting the college application process, I kind of I didn't know what to talk about, and I kind of kept going back to MAP experiences and projects and things, because that was something that it was MAP kind of was a constant for me during that, because you had these skills and tools under your belt that kind of help paint you as a person rather than just a student on paper. And so I'm going to be a visual arts major, and freshman year me, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I still don't, to be fair, but here we are. So yeah.
Actually,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay.
Thanks. Sorry, one thing I forgot to include was this year we did the Shark Tank project, where we were assigned in groups, and we kind of went through a business plan and presented our company to real VCs. So that really kind of helped me realize that I really do want to do this, and I do want to create my own company in the future.
So that was your in your MAP economics class, but you had to use your media skills, correct, to develop a commercial, or what was it you had to do?
So we were split in groups of maybe 5 or 6. So we were all different members of the company, like CEO, CFO, blah, blah, blah. So we did make a commercial, which we had to film, And then we had our business plan where we each assigned different things to do and we presented it. So overall, it was a really cool and fun process.
And you had to present it to real professionals, right? Not just your teacher,
real people
right?
from the industries, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Maya, did you want to, who was jumping in there?
Yeah, sorry, just really quick. I'm going to be a political science major and then probably go into law after I graduate that. When I was a freshman, similar to Rana, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought then sophomore year I was going to be a chemistry major because I loved honors chem so much. But I took AP Chem and realized that it really is not for me, which is okay. But then I had no clue what I wanted to major in. And then this year, actually, in Mr. Davies' Gov class, I ended up really liking talking about government, and I'd always been super passionate about politics, very opinionated, as I'm sure everyone here can attest to. Thanks, Ryan. And then I realized that political science is really the right fit for me, and I don't think I would have been able to realize that had I not been in math. And I know that's true for a lot of people, that even if they're not taking a media major, that math played a very large role in helping them decide and figure out what they want to do.
So as a student who is doing a media major, actually, I think MAP helped me figure out what I want to do within that, because I learned through being in MAP for 4 years that I didn't really like making movies. I think part of it was that maybe I just wasn't good at it, but I also was like very harsh on myself. Like I never felt like this is personally, I never felt like I made something that I was proud of, which kind of sucks. But then I think being around math teachers, which I think probably the best in Saratoga High School, I learned that I really liked the English program and the fact that we always discussed our writings. So I'm actually planning on doing a double major with comparative literature and then going into teaching because of the amazing teachers I had in the program.
Great. We could use some good teachers. Come back to Saratoga. All right. So have you applied any of the skills that you've learned in MAP to anything outside now or going forward? Like, have you used skills that you've learned in the program other than for school projects?
So for our rallies, we would make these promo videos on the week of the rallies to promote our rally and the theme and everything. And from MAP, I learned how to edit videos. So that's how I learned to edit the videos that we would post.
Yeah, it's great to know a good editor, right? Anybody else?
Yeah, junior year for me, I kind of like explored outside of school more, like through the medium, like what I could do. And I ended up getting really into like making commercials and like photography. I actually did like a whole like advertising campaign for my old chemistry teacher's jewelry company, which was really cool. And yeah, it was just cool to see like those skills come to life and like actually like a product that wasn't like being graded but was still helping someone.
So I'm going to ask you a question about the time period we're living in right now. So with COVID-19, the MAP program is all about being connected, you know, and doing projects, groups together. How is the MAP family living through this? And what are you doing? And are you staying connected? Is it really a bond, or is it that's just a name and something we try to promote?
No, it's not just a name we're trying to promote. We do have a very distinct connection with each other. Like so many people I had known, say in middle school, like I knew these people, I said hi to them in the hallways, but through MAP, they actually became like my real friends. But through this COVID-19 situation, we've been every week, we've had like a weekly all MAP meeting for our grade. So we've just been going over just random topics just about a MAP or our future. And we've also been playing Kahoot games just for fun facts and trivia, which has been fun.
Yeah, and I think because such a big part of MAP is working with others, the teachers have done their best to kind of continue to promote that kind of environment. And so like in Lang, we still have small group discussions through Zoom. And in Gov, we're currently working on a personal finance unit, and all of us are married to someone in our class. And we and so like you're still really like there's a lot of connecting that we're doing with our classmates and with our teachers. And we also just finished in Gov a Senate simulation. So we were all senators and we all worked together to write bills. And yeah, so we're really doing our best to stay connected with each other.
I was invited to a movie night not long ago, so I thought that was a pretty interesting discussion, and it was volunteer, wasn't it? Well, it wasn't really a class thing, was it? Was it?
It was like an optional extra credit kind of thing, but it was still really cool, and it was open to everyone, I think. Yeah, we watched a movie. I watched it with my family, and then came on the Zoom call, and there were like students from all like different grade levels and like the teachers, and we talked it through, and it was really cool. MAP so far is like my only, like as of like online school, it's like the only real kind of social interaction from students and like teachers I get. So I think it's really awesome that they're still working hard to keep us connected.
Okay, we're going to move on to our last question now, and that is, what are your takeaways? You've been in the media arts program now for 4 years. As you head off to college, what are the things you're going to think about, take with you? No crying over there, Ryan. I see you. So, who wants to take that one on first?
I can start with that.
Okay.
So for me, I think what I'll remember from high school is the friendships and experiences I had, not the classes I took or the grades I got. And through MAP, I made so many new friends and had so many great experiences, such as the LA trip in junior year, which is definitely my favorite memory of MAP and of high school. That's something I'll remember for a long time.
Did you take other field trips just before we move on to another person? What were the field trips you remember?
Should I let somebody else take this, or?
No, you can answer me.
Okay, so starting in MAP 10, we had the ropes course field trip, where we went to San Francisco, and we that's kind of when we were first getting to know each other and bonding with each other, and that needed a lot of teamwork, and that really helped with that. And then even this year, we were planning on going on our capstone Asilomar trip at the end of the year, but unfortunately due to COVID-19 that got canceled. But we're still planning on doing a beach day in the summer and kind of incorporating what we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm missing.
Somebody else will pick it up. Megan?
Yeah, so okay, so freshman year, which has changed since when we were freshmen, but I know that they do, once you read Of Mice and Men, you do a field trip to the John Steinbeck Museum, and had something to do with gold hunting, or that's not the hunting, no, you like mine for gold, I think. And then sophomore year, there's the ropes course field trip, which is super awkward if you don't know anyone in the program, but you come out of it being super close to a lot of people that you didn't know before. And then we also did a field trip to LinkedIn, where we learned kind of about, it was during a career unit, and so we had to have mock interviews and stuff, and then we went to LinkedIn and learned about how to set up a LinkedIn profile and what it means to get a job, and what kind of careers are out there in the world. And then junior year is the LA trip, which is probably the biggest deal. And then we had a lot of optional field trips with Mr. T, and so there was a day trip to San Francisco, like a history of San Francisco field trip, that I know a lot of people went on. And then there's the Wild Wild West field trip, which I didn't get to go on, but I know Rana did, so she can probably talk about that one. And then senior year, we have the Amazing Race field trip, which is basically a giant scavenger hunt through San Francisco and is the most intense, tiring thing ever, but it is such a cool experience. And then we also have a field trip to the San Francisco courtrooms, and so we got to sit through a couple court cases, and that was a really cool experience.
Well, that was the Ninth Circuit, right?
The Ninth Circuit
court.
field trip, yeah. So that was also super cool. And then we we filmed civil liberties documentaries in downtown San Jose as another field trip. And I think that's everything.
I think Angel Island was your 11th grade, right?
There's an Angel Island field trip in 11th grade too.
Yeah. Okay, so since you're on, what's your takeaways, Meghna, from the program?
I think MAP really taught me how to be open to anything and how to work with any kind of person, not just in like in sort of like a career or a job environment, but in a social environment too. I'm so close to so many people that I don't think I would have ever become friends with if it hadn't been for the MAP program. And so I really it was such a big part of my high school life. Just how to talk to people and how to socialize. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, my takeaway was that I learned to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and just going out of my own personal comfort zone and, putting myself out there a little bit more, because I personally do enjoy this quarantine and just being home and not having to interact with other people. But now being in MAP has changed that a little bit, and I actually miss a lot of the people here and my other peers that are probably basking, binging Netflix from the comfort of their own homes right now. So it's been nice, like meeting a bunch of other people and learning that it's okay to reach out for help if I do have problems eventually.
For me, I think MAP, like one of the most important things it's taught me is to kind of push away like the preconceived ideas you have of not only your own limits, but of other people's. And like in the end, it teaches you a lot of important traits like patience and resilience and time management, things that are going to help you inside and outside the classroom. And like everyone else has mentioned, like I built relationships and bonds with so many people that I never would have imagined when I started high school. And most of my best friends I've met through MAP and have like become much, much closer with them thanks to the program.
I would definitely agree with all of the people here. I think for everyone in MAP, one of the biggest takeaways is the really close friendships that you get with everyone else. But I think also for me personally, I have grown a lot as a result of the MAP program. And it's also been really cool to watch everyone else around you grow and mature in the same way. Because I feel like you're more aware of when your peers are doing it than when you're doing it, and just comparing the group in 9th grade to now, it's so different, but it's still the same people. They're just much better versions of themselves, much more like mature, eloquent, really good to work with. And I think that is my biggest takeaway from the program.
Great. Well, we're about ready to open it up for the Q&A, but I just want to say thank you to the panelists for all of those great responses, and just acknowledge the fact that this is probably the last student participated in activity for the Media Arts program as a whole. So thank you for being great representatives of the program. And I know that wherever you go, you're going to do great things, and we'll be happy to hear about those, and we'll be inviting you back to be panelists on. I was a MAP grad too one day, so we're looking forward to that. So I'm going to turn it back over to Ritika and Naomi, and they're going to start the Q&A section.
Hi, everyone. Feel free to type your questions in the chat. We just ask that you remain muted, and all of our panelists will answer. We'll try our best to get to every single question.
So our first question is, what, if any, opportunities are there for MAP interactions between grade levels?
I can take that one. One big thing that helps with that is MAP leadership, which is takes place at school. It's student run, and all grade levels of MAP get involved, and you have different roles. Like for me, it was like marketing was my thing. Krithi, the one hosting this, is a speaker series coordinator. There are like many like different roles that people can find, and you kind of like through through map leadership, like you get mentors from the older grade levels that teach you, like kind of like show you the ropes and like talk to you about things, and teachers, and give you advice for the program, which is really helpful.
Thanks, Rana. What is it like being a part of the MAP student leadership team?
I can take this. I am co-head of recruitment, and I think being passionate about MAP and being in the leadership team really is great, because I'm like, my voice is heard, and I can, if I think of something, I can make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and we actually just had a MAP leadership meeting today. And one of the things we kind of talked about is how like you really can get super involved in anything that you're interested in. And so like this year I was co-head of fundraising, but I also volunteered to help do presentations in freshman English classes. And I helped at the 8th grade electives night. And so like being in MAP leadership, you get exposed to so much more than just what's inside of the MAP classrooms, which is super important.
Another thing to add on to that, and kind of the previous question too, is like map leadership, you like organize events and things. Like the 48-hour film festival is one new one that we've done the past couple years, which is open to all grade levels, and which is really cool. And there's also other things like Palooza, which is like our Thanksgiving celebration where everyone in MAP comes and eat pie together. And then there's like movie nights and all sorts of things throughout the year, which are really awesome.
Thank you. Our next question is, what leadership opportunities are there in the MAP program? What skills did you gain from these experiences?
Yeah, so like we said, I think half of us here are in MAP leadership. Ratika is actually our MAP student leader president. And so within MAP leadership, there's a lot of different parts that you can be a part of. And so like I said, I was fundraising. Rana was a part of marketing. Mihir worked in recruitment. And then there's also like Krithi. She works on organizing all of the speaker series. We have people that work on activities, so like Palooza and movie nights. We have, what else is there? There's the board liaison. So we have a parent booster board that works on giving all the funding to MAP. And so we actually have 2 students that work with the MAP boosters to communicate back and forth between what the students want, what the teachers want, and what the parents want, which is also a really cool role that not a lot of other clubs have. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Magna. This one's an interesting question, actually. If there's one single regret for the 4 years in MAP, what is that for you?
I would have to say not getting more of my friends to do it.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I think I have some of my closest friends aren't in the MAP program. And whenever I talk about the MAP stuff that I'm doing, they're always so jealous, and so many of them wish that they had been a part of the program, because you get so much out of it. Yeah.
All right, thank you. What is the role of the MAP boosters?
I think Magna just touched on this one a little bit, but it was basically like the parents that are like doing a lot of the behind the scenes work for MAP leadership, and to like raise money and funds to get us the equipment we need, which is really helpful, because we do have really like amazing facilities that we shouldn't take for granted. So big thank you to MAP boosters and the parents that help with MAP leadership.
Are there any volunteer opportunities in the community for MAP seniors to donate their skills to the greater community, say like filming events in the community or making videos for the city? So like any volunteerism in the program?
So specifically our junior year, we work on a documentary project where we actually get split up into groups and do like a volunteering field trip. And then we make a documentary about our experiences in that. Outside of that, there's no like I wouldn't say force, but there's no like specific like all of the senior students are going to do this, but there's so many opportunities in the community. I know that there's a broadcasting station just for Saratoga that likes to use a lot of the senior work that we produce. And there's a lot of small companies, especially in downtown Saratoga, that would love to get the help of high schoolers who know media skills and could help them market. And so if you want to use your map skills to help volunteer in the community, there's so many opportunities if you post on somewhere like Nextdoor.
Yeah, Magna mentioned like one of the West Valley College had this broadcasting station called KSAR that like worked with both the SHS TV, which is the broadcast journalism class, and the MAP students that like volunteered over the summers and things like that to help contribute and learn and like kind of use their really nice equipment and learn how to use things pretty much.
Do most MAP students need an Apple or can they use Android computers at home?
So in our media lab, we're supplied with Apple computers, as well as many other like equipment. And most of the work you'll be doing is in the media lab, so you won't be needing to do anything at home, like media wise.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the equipment and the facilities that we use as MAP students?
Yeah, so in our MMC, which is the media lab, we have a big green screen where we can film. We have a sound room where we can record. We have so many equipment such as like microphones. We have camera stabilizers. I know we're getting a drone next year thanks to the Map Booster grant. And
We also
in the chat. Go ahead.
we also have a couple of sets that are in the green screen room, which are super cool to use. And then, yeah, I think another part of like the access that MAP has is with our tech, like our teachers, our media teachers, who have a lot of connections outside of the school. And so they're really helpful with some of that stuff too.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, was okay. Do MAP students lean toward one type of media over others?
No, not at all, really. A lot of MAP students prefer different kinds of media. I have a lot of friends who prefer the graphic design elements or friends who prefer the movie making and film elements. I personally am very bad at visual design, and I think MAP has definitely helped me work through that and be okay with doing it, as okay as I can be. I've never been an artist at all. There's definitely a lot of diverse opinions about like filmmaking and 2D design in MAP. There's not really one type of media that we prefer over the other.
You've talked a lot about how diverse the MAP student population is, but are there any qualities that you think MAP students actually have in common?
I think one thing that's like, it kind of shows like through the later years of MAP is that a lot of MAP students are really driven and like motivated academically as well as like outside of school. Like you work together super hard on these projects, but you're also there for each other outside of the classroom at like sports games and senior nights and things like that. So I don't know if that exactly answers the question, but yeah.
Thank you, Rana. What advice would you have for future MAP students?
I guess I'll take this one first. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. You're going to run into problems. That's an inevitability of all things that happen when you're working with other people. You're going to have problems with your group. You're going to have problems with technology. But never be afraid to reach out for help because your teachers are there for you.
Definitely. I would recommend communicate with everyone that you can. On the first day of the project, I would recommend like setting up a group chat with all of your team members. And whenever like there's an issue that you guys aren't able to work out, go to the teachers as soon as you can to try and work it out, because that then they'll be more likely to be more forgiving of you and give you an extension rather than you just kind of having to take the fall and get a worse grade. Just communicate as much as you can and be as clear as you can with your communication.
If there's a student who isn't sure about joining MAP, what would you say to them?
I think if you're a 8th grader and you're looking to deciding whether to do it freshman year, I think that's a great place to go in because it's less commitment than if you were joining it further on in your high school career. It's one class and then you get the basics of understanding media, but maybe if you're still unsure, I think it's the best opportunity.
Yeah, on top of that, like, sorry, it's like you should definitely give it a go. Like, worst thing that can happen is you switch out. Like, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely worth it if you stick through it to the end.
Just about switching out. If you are in MAP and you find yourself wanting to drop out, I would not recommend dropping out until after you take MAP 10, like finish MAP 10, and then decide, okay, maybe for junior year, I just want to do the regular English classes. Because I know a lot of people who dropped out after MAP 9, but MAP 9 really isn't the full MAP experience, and you won't really get to get those close connections because they're not going to happen instantaneously, right? It takes time to bond. And just finishing MAP 10 where you have the 3 classes, so you have full MAP days where you're with the same people for the whole days. And the more media-based projects, do not drop out before finishing MAP 10.
You've mentioned things like Great Gatsby and Of Mice and Men. Does each new class do the same texts?
I see Ritika talked about it in the chat a little bit, but there's some other books that you do read that will be unique depending on your class because we do book groups depending. So in units, you don't have like an assigned book that you read. And so there'll be book groups for that. And I know in terms of MAP 12 in Lang, it's a lot about philosophy and philosophy changes over time. And so you do read different texts in 12th grade year to year.
Do MAP students have a lot of freedom with their project ideas, or are most of them chosen by the teachers?
So the projects are actually, it kind of depends with each project, but most of them you have a fair amount of freedom. And so you'll kind of get a spec sheet of like, this is what like the project needs to be generally about. And so like, for example, we had a documentary sophomore year called Be the Change. And so you just needed to pick a topic that you were passionate about that was a world issue or an issue in Saratoga, right? And so that can mean a lot of things. You can pick poverty to like juuling in school, right? So it's like there's a wide range of topics that you can choose. And then for our fiction projects, like someone had mentioned earlier, junior year you do an American Story project, and it literally means from 1900 to 2000, you have to pick a time period and create a fictional story that happened within a certain time period and talk about historical events, tie historical events into your film. And so you have a lot of flexibility with what you want to do. And the teachers are also super open to everyone's ideas. And so if you have an idea for a project that fits into like some sort of guidelines that are given to you, if you present it to your teacher and it's a good idea, you'll most likely be able to do it.
Yeah, I think teachers do a really good job balancing like the freedom of choice, like creatively. I think like there's definitely some projects where they'll give you like specific instructions to make the project about like this topic, make it this long. But there are also ones where you kind of have to step back and think for yourself and think critically and like talk it out with your group mates. So I think it's really helpful.
I think the most freedom we have has been this year, where we literally have the whole year to work on one project, one 10-minute film, where we start storyboarding, we get actors from drama and all that stuff to do it. And that was probably like the most fun I've had in MAP doing a project up until this Rona thing happened and it all got canceled. So there is definitely a lot more freedom as years go by, because I think starting off in MAP, you kind of have to learn the technology a little bit more. So in that way, you're a little bit more restricted, but as you go on and you become like, you're more proficient at things, then you have more freedom.
What type of people would you recommend the MAP program to the most?
Any type of person, honestly. Because if you're a very outgoing, loud person, you're great for the MAP program. If you're a quiet person, you don't have a lot of friends, you have trouble making friends, the MAP program is the perfect program for you. It caters to everybody, and I really recommend it to everybody here.
Yeah, anyone like interested in media or not, like you end up like moving away from it with like a greater understanding and learning for like appreciation for learning, especially with the humanities subjects that you take it with.
Yeah, I will say this. I know a lot of people who have regretted not taking math in high school. I don't know a single person who regretted taking math. Just throwing that out there.
And before I give the next question, I actually have one friend who's in college right now that I just like to share. She talked to me the other day about how she regrets so much not taking MAP, and her MAP friends that are in college, she talks about how they're so much more prepared to get jobs and internships and such. So I think that's like super cool. How does the structure of the MAP class change per grade?
So freshman year, you start out with just your English class. So there's no media arts elective attached to the class. And so you kind of get the opportunity within your English class to learn a small amount of media skills. And unfortunately, your curriculum doesn't tie to your geography class, just because at Saratoga too, it's like one semester you have geography and the other semester you don't. So it's kind of hard to work with that. And then sophomore year is your media arts class, your history class, and your English class all on the same day of school. And so you actually, and then within each class, you have the same group of people. So the way it works is that, let's just say there's 90 kids in the program. They get split up into 3 cohorts, and then each of those cohorts has a certain schedule. So 1/3 of the people will have media, and then English, and then history, and then other people will have English, history, and then media. And then the third will be the last combination. And then you actually all get to work together too, because the teachers kind of have control of the entire day. And so there are certain days it'll be just a media day, and so you'll spend the entire day watching people's projects and giving feedback on them. And then there'll be another day that's entirely a history day, where you have to come to class dressed up as some sort of character, and you're in a trial and there's lawyers. And so that's kind of how it works sophomore year. And then junior year is a little different. So you have your English and your history class on the same day. And then your media arts class is actually on the opposite day, because we have block schedule. And so it's a little tougher to do the whole entire day in MAP, and field trips become a little more tough because of that. But then back again, senior year, you have your entire red day dedicated to MAP, which is really similar to sophomore year.
Do you guys mind sharing which college you are planning to attend and what you are planning to major in?
I think we can go all around and just share it again. I'm going to Indiana University, and I'm majoring in business.
I'm going to University of Michigan, and I'm majoring in mechanical engineering.
I'm going to UC San Diego, and I'm majoring in visual arts.
I was initially going to the University of Washington, but the situation at hand prevented me from doing that. So now I'm going to Foothill Community College, and I'm majoring in political science.
I actually had similar plans to Maya, where I was going to go to University of Washington, but I decided to stay closer to home. So I'm going to UC Santa Cruz, and I'm planning to double major in film and media studies and comparative literature.
Thank you guys for sharing. Is MAP a program that is unique within California / the United States?
Yes, big time. I mean, like it's unique just to Saratoga. Like Los Gatos, I think they have something kind of similar where they have like a media class, but it's nothing compared to MAP. And that's definitely like it's one of the greatest opportunities at Saratoga High to take advantage of, I think, in my opinion.
And the program is so unique and so cool that we actually won an award for it last year. by I think it was the Santa Clara County Education Board. It was just a bunch of schools in the area who had created cool programs that benefit their students so much, and so we won that award.
Oh, actually, Naomi, do you want to read this one out, the next one out?
Do you want to read it? I'm not sure which one you just read last.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think MAP has helped your personal growth in any way?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think freshman year, me would be very surprised for me to be even doing something like this, because I think freshman year me would have expected me to go through high school without very many friends, without being very public about anything, just doing my own thing. So MAP has helped me in that way be more open to other people.
Experiences you get through MAP teach you a lot about like yourself and that you're capable of a lot more than you think. So I would say, yeah, for sure.
How are you still freshman you, or did MAP just brainwash you?
I would definitely, say that I have the same kind of passion that I did freshman year. I think I am just a lot better at presenting it in a more likable way and kind of being less in your face about it, although I still am sometimes, admittedly. But I don't think I'm a completely different person. I think MAP has just helped me become a better version of myself, for sure.
Rana, sorry, your audio is a little bit muffled. Do you have something over the mic?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Yeah, sorry. My hand was over it. For me, from freshman year, like I was always really shy, and like throughout like elementary school and middle school, all my teachers, like the comments or whatever, was always like, she's too quiet. But MAP has really helped me find my voice and like, I don't know, speak up, and yeah, kind of helps you build confidence, especially throughout high school, which is like a hard time for a lot of people, but it's definitely a plus.
Okay, going into your freshman year, did you think you'd be pursuing one career? But by the time your time in high school was coming to a close, you decided to pursue a totally different career?
I think it's even hard now to know what career you want to pursue, even though we're going into college. So, but I think that it's inevitable for things to change. And I think MAP kind of helps you like weigh your options and eliminate your options and kind of get a greater perspective of what you can do. So, and helps you hone in on what you're interested in also.
Yeah, personally, I always assumed like my freshman and sophomore year that I would be going into some kind of STEM career because I always really loved science. But kind of through the MAP program and AP science classes, I decided that it really wasn't for me. And I don't think I ever really would have actually seen myself doing a pre-law major. And I think that is mostly because of MAP.
Excellent. And now our final question here. What do you guys think you wouldn't be without MAP? Like, what would you not have if you didn't take the media arts program? It could be a skill or something new about you.
I think I would have never been introduced to the world of graphic design in Adobe Illustrator, which is, like I said, such a big part of one of my interests. And yeah, I don't know what I would be interested in because my like career plans are also shaped off of that too. So it made such a big difference for me.
Yeah, I hate to sound cliche, but like MAP definitely does shape you as a student, and it has shaped me. And I think like a lot of the skills I've learned, like whether it's media or like hard skills and soft skills, they'll definitely stay with me.
Teachers cover your ears, but without MAP, I don't think I would have liked school as much as I do.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with Mihir on that one. I've always been kind of like, I've always liked school, but I definitely would not like it to the degree that I do without MAP. And I also don't think I would have like half of the friends that I currently have without the program. And I think I would definitely have far less fond memories of high school without MAP.
Yeah, I think without MAP, I would have just straight up hated high school, to be honest. You know, because I remember this is a quote that always comes to me when I think about school in general. It's high school, those are your prime suffering years. You don't get better suffering from that than that. So it's like, you know, through high school, you're gonna go through pains and stuff, but the fact that MAP has been there to help you recuperate with that, and that you're surrounded by other people going through similar pain. Oh, that sounds terrible. But yeah, I think that's what's helped me a lot, is that finding comfort in the fact that everyone else is miserable.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. I'd like to invite Kriti and Dylan back here just so that we can close out the event. Naomi, go ahead.
Thank you all for attending Mapping the Future. The recording will be posted on the MAP YouTube channel early next week.
And always feel free to reach out to any one of us if you have any further questions. You can also find any of our contact information here. Additionally, we have provided the contact information for the MAP coordinator, Ms. Hersman.
Before we all go, can we all just give our speakers a round of applause, even though we're muted, just in spirit? Thank you, Mihir, Maya, Meghna, Ryan, and Rana, for all your amazing work as Mapsters. The program is really going to miss you next year. Also, a huge thanks to Mrs. Monarchy for being our moderator, Mrs. Nagaraj for all her work as the Booster Speaker Series head correspondent, and the student leadership graphics team who made all of the posters and the slideshow that we've been playing throughout the event.
Overall, one can see that MAP is a one-size-fits-all kind of program, as demonstrated by our student panelists. While students such as myself and the panelists here today may hold different backgrounds and interests, we all share an everlasting bond with our peers, our staff, our administration, as one big MAP family. This is going to be my last event with MAP leadership, and I just want to extend a thank you to Ritika, Dylan, Naomi, and the rest of the MAP leadership team for representing MAP with passion and dedication. I'd also again like to extend a thank you to Ms. Nagaraj for being so experienced with her role as correspondent. Thank you to Ms. Hersman, Ms. Monarchy, and the rest of the MAP staff for putting in all of your efforts through this program. You all are the reason why MAP is so powerful today. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, MAP class of 2020, for growing and supporting each other forever and always. I know we couldn't have ended this year that great because of what's going on, but I hope you know that the MAP bond will always stay with you forever. Oh my, I'm probably gonna cry, but I'm gonna calm down. Whew, okay. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Take care, everyone, and I hope you all were able to take away something special from this event. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.